When should bands stop? Hey there, metalheads. Papa Billy Death here, and I recently saw an Alice Cooper concert airing on TV, and he just did not sound good, and it was kind of sad to watch. At some point, artists need to know when to quit. Now, good things do not last forever. After so many years, they either lose interest in what they're doing or simply lose the ability to perform well. They don't need to stop altogether, but in certain aspects, it's always important to end on a high note. Otherwise, it just is sad. I, for one, really hope that Iron Maiden does not release another album. The Book of Souls was a strong album, much more so than The Final Frontier, but it started to show some weaknesses in the band. In the song The Speed of Light, Bruce's vocals couldn't quite hit the high notes that he used to on songs such as Number of the Beast, so they put an echo effect on it, which it didn't entirely work. The album also has some self-plagiarization on it as well. In Shadows of the Valley, they basically reused the intro to Wasted Years. In the 18-minute long song Empire of the Clouds, they are using the riff from their song The Legacy, which was on their album A Matter of Life and Death, and they're using that for pretty much the entirety of the song. That is why I hope they end on that album. They can still perform good live shows, and they should stick with that, but they really don't need to make another album. Black Sabbath ended while still being able to perform and write well, and it gave them a strong finish. But they knew they didn't want to just stick around longer than they needed to, because they'd already been around for like 40 years. But bands like Motley Crue quit much later than they should have. I've heard from a lot of people that the members had no stage when they were on stage. They had no chemistry together, which makes it like watching individuals performing instead of a band. AC/DC probably should have ended, but they kept it going even though it's basically a cover band with Angus Young in it. Their singer had to stop, which is really a sign for most bands to stop, but their rhythm guitarist had to stop, and then their drummer was arrested or something like that, and then they just decided to keep going with Axl Rose, just to try and get people to come to their shows. Mark Tornillo from Accept would have been perfect for AC/DC, but whatever. All the hair bands like Poison are still going, even though they haven't released anything in decades. They're playing just completely for nostalgia's sake, and they're not offering anything new to people. It's just for people to sort of relive their time in the 80s, which that's not really a good thing. But then there's bands like Testament, they've been putting out amazing albums. Their last one was one of the best ones they've put out. I would like to hear a new Testament album, but not if it's a lower in quality. I think that the Brotherhood of the Snake would be a fantastic finale for them. They can still perform really well. I saw them recently and they put on a great show, and their newest album was fantastic. But I'm hoping that unless they can make a better album than they did, or one that's really high quality as the last one was, then I don't want them to release a new one, because otherwise it just damages their legacy, which has been untarnished. They really haven't put out a bad album. A lot of people don't like Demonic as much, but it's still a good album. Alright, those are my thoughts on when a band should stop or when they shouldn't stop. Leave a comment down below letting me know when you think a band should stop or shouldn't stop. And while you're doing that, be sure to subscribe, like my video, and check out my past videos as well. I've also got a new playlist up. It's called Intellectual Instrumentals. It's got a lot of it's just a bunch of instrumentals that I really like. And also check out my other playlists on there. I've got my concert playlist, my metal playlist, my covers playlist. There's lots of good stuff on there, and so be sure to check that out while you're there too. Alright, peace.